so here's the spotlight review on Transformers Siege War for Cybertron Trilogy Wave 2 Voyager class Starscream. The last incarnation of Starscream that we got in Voyager class was a bit of a miss, in all honesty. But that's what you get when you try to make a character that was never a combiner into a combiner. There's gonna be problems, either in this combine mode, or it's robot mode, or it's vehicle mode, or all three at that. So anyway, before we take a look at the figures, put them aside for a moment so we can take a look at the packaging as partake of every single video review on this channel, up close in your face. And the first thing that I want to point out is a correction throughout all the videos I've done on the Siege figures at the moment, talking about the Decepticons here, because apparently this icon here for the backdrop does represent something. It's not just something that they created. So this symbol here represents the city of Kaon, which I guess is the home base of the Decepticons, because every single Decepticon figure has this for their backdrop in the packaging. Moving right along, we got Transformers Siege War for Cybertron Trilogy, War for Cybertron Siege number 24 Starscream, Ages 18 Plus, Hasbro's logo, Transformers, which goes straight up to the Takara Tomy logo, and down below that we got the Misaligned Generations logo. On this side of the packaging, we got that promotional artwork that's being used for all the figures in the Siege line so far from Waves 1 and 2. And down below that, we got the authentic Transformers stamp, which to remind you, if it doesn't say authentic, it's a knockoff. Transformers Siege War for Cybertron Trilogy. On this side of the packaging, where it really counts, we got very nice artwork of Starscream for his packaging, where he looks like he's throwing up his fists in rage, probably at Megatron. And if you shine the packaging in the light, you can see there's a Decepticon symbol right there. Voyager class, in case you forgot. Onto the back of the packaging, and here we got the computerized images of Starscream in his Tetrajet mode and robot mode, which consists of 22 steps and vice versa of the transformation. Here's a look at some Battlemaster figures, which, once again, I have yet to acquire because my store doesn't sell them. Warning, choking hazard. Our sad little onion faces present on the box, licensing, locations, and all that kind of stuff. At the very bottom of the packaging, at the top right corner, we have another authentic Transformer stamp, which to remind you, if it doesn't say authentic, it's a knockoff. And take a look at the next contents the figure comes with, his set of instructions, which we won't be looking at. And so moving right along to Starscream in his Tetrajet mode. As you can see, it's pretty much based on the design from his Generation 1 appearance. You know, the thing is, though, it had to be modernized just a little bit due to the gimmick. Yeah, so this isn't completely Generation 1 accurate. As you're going by the nose of the jet itself, it's way too long and sticks too far out. I mean, if they were going to go complete G1, this would actually be slanted down, and this would actually be shorter. But due to the engineering on the figure and getting him into his robot mode, which is pretty good to his Generation 1 counterpart, I can understand why they went with this design. Well, the one thing I do like about this mode is that he does have a little cockpit window here, but it does shine in the light very nicely. The way that it's painted underneath on the inside of this clear plastic, it gives it such a nice glow no matter what direction the sunlight's in. And as you can see, he does have quite a bit of paint application. Like, this vehicle form has seen much better days. And Starscream does have a bunch of engines in the back. As you can see, we got some boosters here and here and here. You can count these as boosters as well, which is his faux chest piece. And of course, he's got the boosters down here at his feet. For being such a slick looking design, you gotta think that this thing can fly pretty quick. Starscream also has some Decepticon logos here on the side, and this side here. But what I'm really loving is the mix of the red, the blues, and it's not that bland gray plastic either. This plastic here, the color of it just looks good. But everything that can be said good about the figure has to be hit, unfortunately, with some negativity, as we've got pretty much all the robot down here. Like, there's no hiding this whatsoever with the way that this is engineered. But as you can see, we also have a lot of combat damage. Starscream has seen some real action. Starscream's probably got the most battle damage on any of the Siege figures that I've seen so far. It's freaking awesome. So Starscream's null ray cannons can actually be attached to the wings, or you also have the option to untab them here. But I do recommend that if you're going to install them into his arms here, you might want to separate the wing. Separating the wing from the arms does give you enough clearance to get this to peg in. Personally speaking here, while I do like the null ray cannons where they lie in under the wings, I do prefer them to actually be this way. Right, so anyway, that's going to do it for looking at the jet mode. So what do you say we do a size comparison? So we're going to dare to compare with Wave 1 Voyager class Shockwave in his submarine mode. Right, submarine mode. So moving right along into the transformation of the action figure, let's take Starscream from his Tetrajet mode to his awesome robot mode. First thing I like to do is remove the null ray cannons, depending on which way you have them positioned under the jet. I'm going to put these aside for the time being. Come here at the top of the jet and untab this section here. What we're going to do is we're going to raise it up like so. And there's this tab right here that's going to go right into this slot here. We'll go ahead and do that. Come to the back of the Tetrajet and we are going to untab as best as possible the faux chest bit so we can take it past this tab here and keep this all attached. Just like that. So that way, now that there's clearance for the tab, we have enough space to actually untab the wings without knocking the chest piece out of place. So we'll go ahead and do that on this side here. Then what we can do with the front of the jet is we can lift it up on this double hinge here, just like that. Go ahead and detach the arms from the legs and then just bring down the legs. And I really do love this pop out spring gimmick here with these back bits instead of having the legs hollow. It's pretty cool how that actually transforms. Alright, so anyway, let's go ahead and flip out the feet and the heel spurs like so. Next we will rotate the entire lower section of Starscream facing this forward. And that way we can take the faux chest piece here, swing it down on these hinges and tab it in right here, and that completes the front of Starscream. What we can do then is we can lower on the double hinge here his elbow, open up the forearm section and flip out his fist. Close that back up. We'll repeat the same process on this side. Bring that out, open up, rotate this out, and then close this back up. Once that's taken care of, we can flip out Starscream's head like so. And this back piece here, we're going to untab from his head and we're going to leave it just like this. Now this section is probably the hardest part of the transformation only because of how tight it is. It is very difficult to separate, but that's exactly what we're going to do with the front of the jet. Swing it all the way up. And there are these tabs right here where my fingers are pointing at. That's going to go into these slots right up here. But in order to do that, we have to align the hinge just right. So on that double hinge, we're going to bring it down some. So that way these tabs are closer to the slot, and that way we can force the tabs to go into the slots like so. And this back piece here actually fits into this groove right here, and that completes the look from the top instead of having a huge gap down here. Once that's complete, just swing forward Starscream's wings, and we can readjust the figure to our liking. Reattach his null ray cannons at his shoulders, and here we have Starscream. For a Voyager class action figure, this figure gives me everything I want out of the physique. The design, the proportions are perfect. Everything about it just screams Starscream because it is Starscream. So let's take a good look at that head sculpt of Starscream, and the first thing you will notice is, yes, he does have light piping. But that's not all. The figure does have a very nice Generation 1 Starscream head. And then of course Starscream has his iconic tower bits here for the back. He's got his faux chest piece here, but it does make up what would seem to be the normal cockpit window for a jet. He's got his turbine bits here for his chest, painted in a nice gunmetal gray. Love the combat damage on the chest. Love the combat damage on the forearms. Loving the combat damage on the legs. It's all around the leg. And even the feet have a little bit of love there. And as you can see, the back of the wings has all that damage as well from the Tetrajet mode. It's pretty clean at the back of the legs, but that's okay. No one's really going to pose their figures from behind. And check out the Generation 1 homage here as they tried to put some Decepticon logos on the wings, and that accounts on both sides as well. But if there's really one thing that I do love about this figure, is the overall appearance of the null ray cannons on his shoulders in the perfect place, perfectly scaled with this figure. Everything is just so perfect. So yeah, I'm just loving it. I'm just loving this figure so much. And of course, since we do have options with loads of ports all around the figure, we can put his null rays wherever we want, however we want. So what you can do is you can peg it into the figure's hand here, and he can hold it like normal rifles. But they're not rifles, they are null ray cannons, so stay up there. So enough gushing over the figure's design, let's talk about the articulation, which Starscream does have a beautiful ball joint at the head. He's got a butterfly joint due to transformation. His shoulders do have your standard hinge joint for inward and outward movement. If you move the wings back, you can get a full 360 rotation. Starscream has a bicep swivel joint, double jointed elbows that does get way more than 90 degrees of bend. Starscream also has wrist swivels, but due to the way that this is engineered, which is not the best design, it's very difficult to actually get it to rotate without this piece moving around or actually popping the hands off. So I'm not even going to bother, but it is there. And the figure also does have a waist swivel cut, which does kind of break up the tip of the cockpit window there, as you can see. At the hips, we do have your universal joints, so you can get this much kicking forward, not much going back. And Starscream can pull off a perfect JCVD split, so there's your still quality. Figure also has a thigh swivel cut, as you can see. Single jointed knees, but they do get more than 9 degrees of bend due to transformation. And if the wings were out of the way, you can get them all the way up. The figure has a hinge joint for up and down movement at the feet, which will also include a limited ankle rocker movement here, but there's just really no way to get around this. And yes, due to transformation, the heel spurs can move inward and outward, and so can his toe. Alright guys, it's that moment of the video where we do a size comparisons for robot mode, and here it is. So let's dare to compare with Voyager class Shockwave, and as everybody has been dying to see, the scale comparisons between him and Siege Megatron. My expectations are blown away with Starscream. When it comes to this line, he has shown me everything positive that this line can offer. I don't see anything that could even be better than this. Starscream has nailed it. His Generation 1 mode for his Cybertronian Tetra form is impressive. It's not perfect, but it really is right up there. At this being our very first Tetrajet mode Starscream figure ever by the actual company Hasbro and Takara Tomy, not a third-party company, has really blown my mind. I never thought we would actually see this come, but it's here, and it has happened. You know, Hasbro could have gone a different way. Hasbro could have said, let's do like War for Cybertron Starscream instead of going for the full crazy-looking triangle-formed jets that they were in one episode, and not even the entire episode. I love it, and I can't wait to add Thundercracker to this, and I'm sure Skywarp is on the way. Maybe sometime around the holiday, we'll just have to wait and see. But to address all the good things about the figure, what have I not said in this video that wasn't something positive? I also mentioned that light piping has returned. I'm loving that. Starscream is nailing it. If you see Starscream at your local retail store, you might want to pick him up. I am totally recommending this one. However, I do have to address one thing about this figure. There seemed to be a hint at a running change going on at the moment for his chest section, which does pop off pretty easily if you're not careful with transforming the figure. The reason why is because of the way that this is designed. It looked like there was going to be a pin put in place in the figure's chest, and these hinges here, which did not come into play with the final design. Now, there's only one photo right now that's been leaked showcasing this, so it's possible this could be a fake. Only time will actually tell. But I love this figure so much that if I do see a running change to Starscream, I'm definitely going to pick this figure up again. As much as I love the figure outside the packaging, I'd love to keep him inside the packaging in all honesty. So this figure does have a lot of value at the moment. He is so awesome. But I do have to admit, I am probably going to have to put some shock oil on these wrist joints here because they are pretty tight. And no matter how many times I try to rotate them, they're always taking the forearm section, which it would have been nice if there was actually some locking position here or tab, something to push in and keep this all locked in place. Regardless though, Starscream is amazing and I can let that slide. Always forgiving. Questions or comments, you know what to do. Hit it down below in the comment section of the video. If you like today's video review, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to give me a sub up. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down. Don't forget to throw in the towel. And until then, my friends, this is the unprofessional toy reviewer Hasbro signing off by saying, when the opportunity persists, don't give up on your dreams. Siege the moment. And thank you for watching.